live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, presidential candidates clash over security are the national issues at ongoing NBA conference in Port Harcourt, River State. Former President Goodluck Jonathan challenges African countries to harness the continent's human and natural resources for productive development. Commuters on Benin Agbo Road urge federal government to fast-track repairs on deteriorating road as it leaves many people stranded for days. And British Prime Minister Andy Bonham vows to maintain pressure on Russia during first official visit to Ukraine. On sports news tonight, Nigeria's Falconets finally leave for Poland after visa glitches ahead of the FIFA Under-20 Women's Cup.
On business news, Africa Finance Corporation launches $150 million climate resilient infrastructure fund for critical projects across Nigeria, Africa.
And from the nation's capital, trade unions picket Abuja Continental Hotel over alleged unfair labor practices and poor working conditions.
We begin tonight with politics, as presidential candidates contesting to lead Nigeria at the 2027 election have disagreed over issues surrounding state policing, subsidy removal, corruption, and issues of governance. This occurred during the second day of the Nigerian Bar Association's ongoing annual general conference in Port Harcourt, River State, in a FISA plenary session that involved Mr. Peter Obi, Mr. Omoyele Sowore, Donald Duke, Isaac Adewale, and ADC Vice Presidential candidate Rotimi Amechi, and the Chief of Staff to President Tinubu, Femi Gbajabiamila, and others.
It's day 2 of the NBA Annual General Conference in Port Harcourt, and among the politicians in attendance are presidential candidates Mr. Peter Obi, Omoyele Sowore, and ADC's vice presidential candidate Rotimi Amechi. Also in attendance is the president's chief of staff, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila.
The two most crucial.
During the panel's session on democracy and governance, conversations focused on security, state police, elections and fuel subsidy, with the NDC presidential candidate Peter Obi highlighting the importance of poverty reduction.
Mismanagement of the proceeds should not be the reason for not removing it. What we have done is that when we remove subsidy, we would have given the people alternative usage for the subsidy. What we have today is that that removal and the attendant resources being recovered is also being mismanaged and stolen. For example, we have received, according to them, 16 trillion. We will, I said it before, go to my manifesto and say I will remove subsidy. We do it in an organized manner, and whatever we recover will be invested appropriately.
There was a feisty exchange between the AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore and the ADC vice presidential candidate Rotimi Amechi.
We have a former governor of Rivers State here, Amechi, who built a rail line that went nowhere. If that rail line was working, subsidy would have been working for the people of Rivers State. Okay. I'm not attacking you, but your records are here in Rivers State.
Playing to the gallery will not make you win the election. You will not win. Now, why Sowore will not win is not you shouting. There are no more than 24,000 lawyers who are here, and there are 93 million voters. So 24,000 should vote for Sowore and see whether he will win. That's not the issue. Let's go to what he said. Who are those from Lagos? There is Lagos Ibadan Railway is working or not? In my time, it was working. I don't know what's happening on that Tinubu. There is Kaduna Abuja Kaduna working or not?
In his address, Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, makes a case to make an argument for state police, praising the President for his reforms, which he says has been long overdue. He, however, acknowledges the valid concerns raised about its potential abuse by state governors.
Nigeria, in contrast, constitutionally prohibits every state from establishing a police service and attempts to meet profoundly local security needs through a single national chain of command. That distinction has not served us well. It has left our policing system at odds with the practical demands of our federation. The easier political course would have been to continue the debate and leave the arrangement untouched, because critical reforms are always difficult and impose political costs. President Tinubu has decided that further postponement is itself a choice. It is the wrong choice. And citizens have carried its consequences far too long. By proposing a dual policing system, the federal government is prepared to share an authority it has long held alone, because the safety of Nigerians matters more than preserving a familiar arrangement.
There were other panel sessions featuring human rights lawyer Femi Falana, former Senator Dino Melaye, among others.
When we got here yesterday, I discovered that Mary Abila, the lady that died in the house of the minister, has been quietly buried. I'm going to send a letter tomorrow. Can I have a copy of the autopsy report? Because that was where we were.
The NJC and the leaders of the CDA, they must sit up. We must have justice. Without justice, there is no peace. Without peace, there can be no construction.
Overall, the sessions were lively and substantive, with divergent views on a plethora of issues, but a shared recognition that major reforms are needed if the nation is to make significant strides forward.
Madam, your question.
Yes,
your question.
Africa's failure to build strong industrial capacity is being identified as not just an economic challenge, but a strategic security concern. And that's the focus of the graduation lecture for course 34 of the National Defense College. The guest lecturer, former President Goodluck Jonathan, said that there is an urgent need for African countries to turn their natural and human resources into productive industries. Our correspondent, Sarah Achimogo, reports.
The 34th graduation lecture of the National Defense College is featuring former President Goodluck Jonathan, the Minister of Defense and Service Chiefs. The Commandant of the College and the Minister of Defense laid the foundation for discussion, focusing on the security situation in the country.
The graduation lecture is a cherished tradition of the National Defense College. It provides an opportunity for our graduating participants to engage with eminent statesmen and strategic leaders of contemporary issues shaping national and regional and also global security.
We must look at our selection process. We must look at how we produce our commanders that will go out in the field and have that confidence to move men and win wars. If we don't do that, we'll continue to have challenges.
In a lecture titled Harnessing Industrial Capacity for Inclusive Growth and Regional Stability in Africa, former President Goodluck Jonathan notes that industrialization can create jobs, reduce poverty, and strengthen state resilience.
Regional stability in the 21st century is shaped by far more than military capability alone. It increasingly depends on the resilience of national economies, the reliability of critical infrastructure, the security of supply chains, and the capacity of states to withstand internal and external shocks.
He links unemployment and economic exclusion to insecurity, including violent extremism, organized crime, piracy, and communal conflicts. He identifies agro-processing, textile and apparel, mineral processing and digital and technology-driven industries as areas with significant potential for Africa.
Strengthening defense-related industries not only enhances operational readiness, but also encourages technological innovation, skills development, and greater strategic autonomy. Well, for a country to grow, leaders must challenge themselves.
The central message is this: Africa's peace depends on its industry. And speakers are stressing that building factories, creating jobs, and boosting trade are essential for inclusive growth and for keeping the region stable. Sarah Achimugu, Channels Television News.
A gridlock persisted for days along the Benin-Agbo Road, leaving motorists and residents stranded for hours. As the situation continues to worsen, drivers and residents are lamenting the deplorable condition of the road, saying that the prolonged gridlock is disrupting commercial activities and making daily commuting increasingly difficult.
For passengers and motorists plying the Benin-Agbo Road, this is certainly not the best of times. The situation along this major corridor leaves much to be desired, as the deplorable condition of the road continues to take a heavy toll on motorists and commuters. For vehicles of every size and description, navigating the stretch has become a daunting experience, akin to the proverbial camel passing through the eye of a needle. Heavy traffic has persisted for several days, with vehicles trapped in kilometers-long queues and barely making any meaningful movement. The situation has been further compounded by heavy rainfall and flooding, leaving parts of the road submerged. Some cars and heavy-duty trucks have been caught in floodwaters, while others have reportedly capsized along the route. For travelers caught in the gridlock, the ordeal is becoming unbearable. Some have reportedly run out of food and drinking water, while others have been forced to spend the night inside their vehicles. For some, abandoning their vehicles altogether and continuing their journey on motorcycles has become the only option.
It did not defense armed robber. Daily daytime to walk the daytime and no roads. We are suffering. Trailer drivers are suffering. This road has been here for many years. Many years. Up to how many years? Government will not be able to fix from there to here, just up to 3 kilometers. For how many years?
We are appealing to the federal government and to David Umahi, Minister of Works, to please speedily. People are suffering here. The drivers are being stuck for some days now because of the nature of the bad road. So we are appealing to His Excellency, President of Nigeria, Ahmed Tinubu, to please answer us fast because the thing is not funny anymore.
Frustrated road users are now calling for urgent government intervention, demanding immediate repairs of the severely damaged sections and measures to ease the traffic congestion. For a road that serves as a critical link between communities and facilitates the movement of people and goods, the continuing gridlock is more than an inconvenience, it's a growing economic and humanitarian concern. Until urgent repairs are carried out and the floodwaters recede, motorists and commuters face the prospect of more delays, mounting losses, and an increasingly hazardous journey.
In part two, after the break, federal government flags off construction of 56.5-kilometer Ijebu-Ode-Ibadan dual carriageway, targets 24 months completion. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Presidential candidates clash over security, other national issues at ongoing NBA conference in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Former President Goodluck Jonathan challenges African countries to harness the country's and continent's human and natural resources for productive development. Commuters on Benin-Abo Road urge federal government to fast-track repairs. A deteriorating road leaves many stranded for days. And British Prime Minister vows to maintain pressure on Russia during his official visit to Ukraine. River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has called on elders and leaders of the state to join hands with his administration in sustaining peace and unity in River State. Governor Fubara made this appeal today while speaking at the commissioning of the network of 10 internal roads covering 8.6 kilometers in Omademe in Ikwere local government area of Rivers.
It is the 6th day of the River State government's ongoing projects commissioning program. Governor Siminalayi Fubara and other government officials have traveled beyond the Port Harcourt International Airport to Omodeme in Ikwere local government area to commission a network of internal roads constructed by the state government. Although located away from the capital city, Omademe is an important agricultural community, making improved road connectivity critical to its economic activities.
This project comprises of the construction of 10 numbers of internal roads in this community, which makes up approximately 8.6 kilometers of total roadworks.
When you have road construction in a particular community, it's also developed that local government. We have brought local government, we have brought development to the local government. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Governor Siminalayi Fubara uses the occasion to explain the philosophy behind his administration's infrastructure projects.
We want to say it publicly here that it's not about the number of days, but what matters in the life of every administration is the value that is added. So please, nobody should lose any hope. Nobody should feel whatever. We will continue to add value till the last day. So please, I want everybody to cheer up. We are working as one now. Let us sustain that tempo for the good of River State. For the good of River State. That is where I stand, and I'm not shifting grounds on that.
Beyond the roads, Governor Siminalayi Fubara also speaks on his administration's approach to governance and the decisions it's taken in recent times, including a recent local workers verification exercise.
It doesn't matter whether the people are my supporters. It doesn't matter whether the people are people from the other side. There is no other side. We're all Rivers people. I ensure that the right thing be done. Everything about this state mustn't be tied to politics. Mustn't be tied to myself and my organization. Tied to, hey, it's because of this. So, no, please. At times, be very objective. Look beyond the issue of politics and look at facts.
The project is then commissioned. While the residents of Omademe expect the road network to improve connectivity and ease transportation, Governor Fubara is urging Rivers people to remain hopeful, promising that his administration will continue to deliver projects and add value to the state until the end of his tenure.
The news at 10 continues now as we switch gears to the nation's capital, Abuja, where Terry Ikume is standing by to bring us more on the news. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Anne. The Hotel and Personal Service Senior Staff Association, an affiliate of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, is picketing the Abuja Continental Hotel over issues surrounding the unionization of its workers and what it describes as freedom of association. Members of the union and other affiliates who came out as early as 6 a.m. today also decried what they call unfair labor practices and indecent working conditions.
Members of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria are at the entrance of the Abuja Continental Hotel to press home their demands. The unions state the reasons for their presence.
We are bothered about the progress of the organization, we wrote the hotel sometime on the 4th of August, inviting them for a discussion to see a peaceful way of resolving this issue amicably. But to our surprise, the management of Abuja Intercontinental wrote us back to say, owing to renovation exercise going on, they might not be available to discuss with us until end of November. How does that make sense to you? We are talking about workers' rights being violated. We are talking about workers being treated as slaves. And you are postponing it until the renovation is done. Invariably, which means by the time they are done with the renovation, all our workers will have died. And it's against that background that we are here to exercise our fundamental right and press home our demand that they do have a right to unionization and collective bargaining.
Who are the workers? The few ones that they have intimidated this morning, as we are talking now, they have written all their names. If they don't do what they are doing, they are sure that by tomorrow they don't have job anymore. That is what they are doing. Some of them are sending to us, secretly. They are talking to us secretly that we must deliver them. We should not mind what they are doing behind here. That is the message they send them.
However, a member of staff of the hotel responds,
if there were correspondences and there were disagreements, we need to be involved because the whole thing is about us. We are not carried along. We are not interested. The management, they are doing their best. And we know that whatever we are going to do is going to be a lot better. It's going to be a lot better. We don't want you to help us, kill us in trying to help us. If truly the agenda that they are here for is to help us, you don't have to kill us. You don't have to stop the business. You don't have to destroy everything because you want to make a point. It doesn't work that way.
the unions say they are ready for dialogue with the hotel in the interest of peace.
The security matters now. After 100 days in captivity, parents of the 44 pupils and students of Musa Primary and Junior Secondary School in Askruba local government area of Borno State are mounting pressure on the federal and state governments to rescue their children from their abductors. The leader of the abductees' parents, Mr. Ishaku Jidai, told Governor Babagana Zulum that most of the children are between ages 1 and 7. The lawmaker representing Borno South, Senator Alin Dume, is also calling for the rescue of the children who are members of his constituency.
The International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement have been offering safe logistics for hostage situations in Nigeria's northeast region. As of July 2026, the movement reported that there are 17,000 active tracing cases of missing and abducted persons in Nigeria. Prominent among the kidnapping in the region include the abduction of students of Government Girls Secondary School Chibok in Borno State, the Government Girls Science and Technical College Dapachi in Yobe State, and the recent abduction of students in Musa and Lassa communities in Askira Uba local government area of Borno State. It's been 100 days since the incident involving pupils of primary and junior secondary schools, and their parents are still struggling to come to terms with the situation.
Clearly in the Holy Quran, as well as in the Holy Bible, that
some of the parents take their concern to the state government demanding action.
It's been 100 days since our children were abducted. We have been patient and we can no longer bear it. We have come to plead with you to rescue our children. Most of the children are below 7 years, and one of them is 1.5 years old. There is a parent with children in captivity. 2 of my children are with the abductors.
Governor Babagana Zulum assures the parents of the safe return of the children.
Stated clearly in the Holy Quran, as well as in the Holy Bible, that calamity will never befall on anybody except by the will of Almighty Allah. I want to assure you that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has since given directives to the Nigerian security agencies with a view to ensuring the release of your own children.
The senator representing Borno South Senatorial District, Senator Ali Ndume, is also raising concern about the abduction of the children. He takes his concerns to the theatre commander of the Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital.
We still have over 100 people now, I can say, put together, more than 100 that are still in captivity. We have the school children from Musa, 42 of them, I think. We have the school children from Lhasa, the students from Lhasa, I think there are 37 or so.
In response, the theatre commander assures the lawmaker and residents of the state of improved security.
I've taken note of the need for more troops in Gulde and Asteraupa. Already we have one in Mandara Gira. Burata is also safe. Okay, Shafa and Howell have taken a Tomcat. The new battalion in Kirawa is still very well. Nimposhi will reinforce the battalion. That one down. Send that you guys like this too.
For now, the federal and state governments say they are actively working to secure the safe release of the children while making efforts to ensure that schools are safe and conducive for learning.
Still to come on the news at 10, Africa Finance Corporation launches $150 million climate resilient infrastructure fund for critical projects across Nigeria and Africa. That's on Business News. So stay with us. Well, welcome back to the news at 10. The Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, says its intervention in Ogoni land goes beyond the remediation of polluted land and restoration of degraded mangrove ecosystems. The project's coordinator, Professor Neni Barini Zabe, stated this in Port Harcourt at a closing ceremony of a cabin crew training program where 19 beneficiaries received their Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority cabin crew licenses. Our correspondent Deborah Agbalama now reports.
For these 19 Ogoni youths, the presentation of their cabin crew licenses marks the completion of a training program they hope will open new opportunities in the aviation industry. The beneficiaries were trained as part of HYPREP's sustainable livelihood intervention aimed at equipping young people with skills to pursue alternative careers and become economically productive.
Young men.
At the ceremony, HYPREP's project coordinator, Professor Nene Barini Zabe, congratulated the trainees and urged them to put the skills acquired to good use, and that licensees officially qualify the beneficiaries to practice as cabin crew professionals in Nigeria and beyond.
Congratulations to all of you. You have worked hard, you have been disciplined, and you have made us proud. HYPREP remains committed to building human capacity and providing opportunities for Ogoni youth and women, just as we continue to demonstrate through intentions and interventions such as this.
The Chief Executive Officer of Crew Training Institute, Lagos, Catherine Saro, commended HYPREP for funding the program and urged the project to sustain the initiative.
You have learned about aviation safety and emergency procedures. You have learned about service excellence and passenger care. You have also learned about grooming, communication, teamwork, and professionalism. But beyond the technical knowledge, we have tried to teach you something perhaps even more important. Professionalism is not a uniform you wear. It is a standard you carry everywhere you go.
Other speakers, including HYPREP's Director of Technical Services, Professor Damian Paul Agui, and Head of Sustainable Livelihood, Mrs. Josephine Nzide, urged the beneficiaries to be good ambassadors of HYPREP and their communities. For the participants, the training has provided not just a professional qualification, but an opportunity to pursue a career in the aviation sector.
The evacuation drills and all of that, even the NCA exam, it was very difficult. So I'm very happy that I was able to get this license, and I want to make good use of it.
As you can see, I have it all glamoring and smiling because I'm happy.
HyPrep is no scam.
HyPrep explains the initiative is part of its broader effort to combine environmental restoration with human capacity development and sustainable livelihood opportunities for the people of Ogoni land. Deborah Mia Fiberasima, Channel Television News.
And that's all from the nation's capital. The rest of the news continues from Lagos with Anne.
Thank you, Terry. The federal government has flagged off the reconstruction and dualization of the 56.5-kilometer Ijebu-Ode-Ibadan road, and this is part of efforts to improve critical infrastructure for socio-economic development and shared prosperity. The Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, represented President Bola Tinubu at the flag-off of the arterial road linking Ogun and Oyo states in the southwest region, which he says is expected to reduce insecurity, improve agricultural value chain, and create both direct and indirect jobs for residents of the two sister states when completed.
After years of waiting, the long-neglected 56.5-kilometer Ijebu-Ode-Ibadan road is set for a major transformation. The proposed dual carriageway will be 12.8 meters wide, with a 7.3-meter carriageway and 2.75-meter shoulder on either side. A new configuration expected to ease traffic and improve safety along the busy corridor. The flag-off ceremony brings together top government officials, National Assembly members, traditional rulers and community leaders, all united in their expectations for what the reconstruction could mean for the region.
Mr. Minister, please thank Mr. President for us and tell him that we are very, very grateful and we will retaliate during the election.
I'm particularly grateful that the voices, concerns, and aspirations of our constituents have been heard. I acknowledge the efforts of our Speaker, the Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, GCON, and other colleagues in the National Assembly who have contributed to bringing this project to this defining moment.
The Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, assures Nigerians of government's commitment to completing ongoing projects on schedule, while calling for continued support for the administration of President Bola Tinubu.
In Southwest, the President has done a lot. And when I talk about projects in Southwest, it is not the Southwest that has the largest chunk of our projects. You can check them out here and you will educate yourself. But let me commend the people of Southwest that you have a good son, a national son, a man of equity and fairness, a man who looks after every part of this country.
Representing the President, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun charges the contractor and host communities to take ownership of the project and ensure that nothing derails its timely completion.
For this road represents the shortest connection between Lekki in Lagos, Ijebu-Ode, Agbowoye, and Ibadan. And of course, it's a connection to Osun, Ondo, Ekiti, and the entire north. Mr. President, we want to thank you.
Then comes the defining moment. Governor Abiodun, joined by dignitaries and community leaders, officially flags off the reconstruction.
This road, I hereby do the groundbreaking.
For the people of Ogun and Oyo, the countdown has begun. 24 months to replace years of neglect with a modern highway, and perhaps most importantly, 24 months to transform this critical corridor from a road frustration into a highway of opportunities.
The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, says his administration will continue to partner with and support religious organizations in the state as part of efforts to promote peace, growth, and sustainable development. Governor Uzodinma stated this at the grand finale of the annual World Conference and Global Crusade of the Zion Prayer Movement Outreach held at the Zion City in Ngobala, local government area of Imo State. Governor Uzodinma commended the ministry for its contributions to the spiritual development of worshippers and its role in promoting peace and supporting the overall growth of Imo State. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, says its full enforcement on the federal government's approved prohibition of alcoholic beverages packaged in sachets and PET and plastic bottles below 200 ml continues across Nigeria. The Director General of the agency, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, disclosed this during the press briefing at NAFDAC's headquarters in Lagos. The DG says the action follows NAFDAC's execution of an irrevocable enforcement undertaken by the Distillers and Blenders Association of Nigeria, the Association of Food, Beverage and Tobacco Employers, and their member companies. Let's delve into the world of business now. Willie Bong is standing by.
Thank you, Anne. Nigeria and Africa are set to get a fresh injection of capital for critical infrastructure and climate-resilient projects with the launch of a $150 million Infrastructure Climate Resilient Fund. The fund, a partnership between Africa Finance Corporation through AFC Capital Partners and United Capital, will mobilize capital from Nigerian institutional investors to back high-impact infrastructure projects. The signing ceremony in Lagos brought together the partners and key stakeholders behind the initiative.
It may look like just another small meeting room, but the deal being signed here is far from small. A $150 million fund to finance climate-resilient infrastructure across Nigeria and Africa. The Infrastructure Climate Resilient Fund, ICRF Nigeria, brings together Africa Finance Corporation, AFC Capital Partners Nigeria Limited, and United Capital PLC with a clear objective: turning domestic long-term capital into infrastructure investment.
ICRF Nigeria is an infrastructure fund that is dedicated specifically to mobilizing capital from Nigerian institutional investors and then channeling the capital into climate-resilient infrastructure, which primarily means infrastructure assets that are able to withstand climate shocks, as we now see evolving climate scenarios on the African continent and also in Nigeria.
For the Africa Finance Corporation, the question is not just about how much money can be raised, but where it can make the biggest difference.
So as this fund invests in resilient transport infrastructure, over time, Nigerians will benefit from lower cost of transportation, and obviously our partners that have invested in this fund will also make money.
The fund will target renewable energy, transport and logistics, digital infrastructure and industrial development, with climate resilience built into the projects from the start.
But the unique thing about ICRF, right, is that it has the climate resilience factor embedded in the infrastructure. So the fund is not just targeted to invest in infrastructure or to close infrastructure gap, but to make the infrastructure climate resilient. And this is the unique selling point for the ICRF.
And there is a particularly important source of capital in the equation: Nigeria's institutional investors. Pension funds and other long-term investors control a growing pool of domestic capital, money that could help close a gap in financing critical infrastructure.
The pool of investment funds in Nigeria, especially from pension funds, is estimated at 31 to 32 trillion naira as at 2026. We expect that this will continue to grow, and for this fund that's been raised by sponsored by AFC Capital Partners, $150 million is just a drop in the ocean in this amount.
The ambition then is bigger than raising $150 million. It is about putting Africa's long-term savings to work on the infrastructure it will need for the long term.
Now let's check in now with the domestic equities market. We start the week on a negative note as the all-share index falls 0.11% amid continued profit-taking. Yes, in John Bekwa.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market reports. In this shortened week,
it's trading today and no trading tomorrow. We still see that it's the bearish sentiment that dominates in the market. Today we saw about 704 billion naira taken out of the market by investors, and we're still at 154.37 trillion. The all share is in the red 0.11%, and just as we opened with 239,000 level is what we are at. Now, a lot of this profit taken of over 700 billion, we see it was taken from banking, 0.63% down for it. First Holdco is one of that, we'll see that later. Consumer goods also down, but it's really slight there, so you would see that it's the banking activities around banking that drove sentiment, while oil and gas is almost unchanged. Now look at the top trades, and that will give us an idea of exactly where that 704 billion came out from. First Holdco is top on the list. We know this is the major driver of the market. UBA also experienced a part of that, and some positive movements around FTG in short. So tomorrow, no trading. That means for 2 days we will have to hear the sound of the bear.
Thank you, Ini. Let's check out the closing numbers for other major stock markets now. And that's business news. I'm Will Ibang. Is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Will. Let's now join Simon Puse with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Andy Burnham has promised to keep up the pressure on Russia despite what he called Moscow's outrageous threats on his first official visit to Ukraine as UK Prime Minister. Mr. President. During the trip, he handed over blueprints so Kyiv can keep its own long-range missiles. Moscow says the UK is participating in this war, and the decision to hand over classified information on missiles will add fuel to the fire. Burnham and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have both delivered speeches in front of St. Sophia Cathedral in Kyiv, where a ceremony was held to mark the 35th anniversary of the nation's independence.
All aimed at crushing the independence that we are here to celebrate, trying to break your will. But today and every day, you prove that they have failed.
At least 30 people have been killed after a mound of rubbish at a major waste site collapsed onto nearby homes in Guinea's capital, Conakry. Another 22 people have been injured, including 6 seriously. Significant resources and personnel, including the military, were deployed to search for survivors after the collapse. One woman told local media her 5 children had died in the disaster. There are fears that the death toll will rise further. Court premises in the Zambian capital Lusaka and elsewhere have been shut as the deadline for filing a petition against the outcome of the recent presidential election approaches. An unusual police presence has been reported at some courts, which have been taped off to prevent access. Opposition candidate Brian Mundabile said he would challenge the election results, citing irregularities after coming second with a 38% share of the vote. Incumbent Hakainde Hichilema won a second term with 60%. Mundabile is in hiding over alleged threats made against him. Nearly 19,000 people have been urged to evacuate their homes as a large wildfire approaches Reno in Nevada. The fire, which officials say was caused deliberately, was first reported on Saturday, and windy conditions have contributed to its spread. A state of emergency has been declared in Washoe County, northwest of Nevada, as Governor Joe Lombardo calls it an active and rapidly evolving situation. US President Donald Trump is threatening to impose new tariffs on Canadian vehicles on the 1st of January. Meanwhile, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney is preparing a response to fresh tariffs imposed by the US on Canadian goods this weekend after trade talks collapsed. Carney confirmed he would match Trump's tariffs dollar for dollar from the 8th of September, including levies on steel, dairy, appliances and electronics. Both countries were optimistic of a trade deal, but talks fell apart, with each other accusing the other of making last-minute changes. A group of former cricket captains, including the Indian batting legend Sunil Gavaskar and one of England's longest-serving skippers, Sir Alistair Cook, have called on Pakistan to ensure its ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan can be given proper care while in custody. The cricketer-turned-politician has been in jail since 2023 on corruption charges which he denies. In a letter to Pakistan's current leader, Shahbaz Sharif, the 21 former captains aired concern that Khan was allowed only a few hours at a hospital last week, where he was examined by a state-appointed team. Khan's party has also filed a contempt petition against the government for not giving him access to his own doctors as ordered by a top court. The football with which Diego Maradona scored his famous Hand of God goal in 1986 has sold at auction for £2.5 million. Maradona famously punched the ball past the goalkeeper Peter Shilton in Argentina's 2-1 quarter-final win over England. After the game, he told reporters it had been scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. Maradona later scored what became known as the goal of the century in the same game, dribbling past 5 England outfield players before slotting the ball past Shilton. And Chinese humanoid robots have broken records set by humans, including beating Usain Bolt's 100-meter sprint world record on the opening day of the Olympics-like World Humanoid Robot Games in Beijing. The 5-day games, now in its second year, are a spectacle demonstrating China's rapid progress in advanced robotics as the technology race with the US heats up, with 51 events and more than 1,000 competitions taking place, including running, table tennis and soccer. More than 2,000 humanoid robots were participating in the event.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. And in the world of sports, Nigeria's Falconets have finally left for Poland after visa glitches ahead of the 2026 FIFA Women's World Cup, which begins on September the 5th. Well, the team were scheduled to leave the country on August the 20th, but the delay in securing the required visas forced the postponement. 20 players and technical crew left Abuja tonight, while the 3 players yet to secure their visas will join the team later. Well, Nigeria have been drawn in Group F alongside Spain, China and New Caledonia.
We just leaving for Poland. What I just need from Nigeria, number one, is to believe in the team. We are going all out to fight to make sure we come back with victory. We are condemned to win. So we ask Nigerians to pray for us also, and earnestly to believe in the team. The team will prosper.
And the CAF Women's Champions League qualifiers, Nigerian champions Edo Queens are up to the flying start at the Wafu B Championship in Burkina Faso. Well, the Queens thrashed Garde Nationale of Niger 7-0 in their opening Group B clash, with Chioma Moses on the hat-trick, Atume Dosor scoring a brace, while Amina Folorenshaw and Oluwakemi Adebuyi were also on the score sheet. They will now face ASEC Mimosas of Côte d'Ivoire next in their group stage game on Thursday. And Morgan Rogers scored on his debut as Chelsea beat Fulham 3-2 at Craven Cottage. Well, Rogers slotted in Chelsea's second goal, and that's after Fulham midfielder Josh King had cancelled on João Pedro's opener. Cole Palmer sealed victory for Chelsea with a third goal before debutant striker Gonzalo Garcia gave Fulham hope, but the visitors held on to start the season with a win. And that's sports news. And the main news again. Presidential candidates today clashed over security and other national issues at the ongoing NBA conference in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Commuters on Benin-Agbo Road are calling on the federal government to fast-track repairs as deteriorating road leaves many people stranded for days. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night and stay safe.